Oh, I'm up too far. Hi. Hi, guys. I'm sure you can tell by my voice and, and lack of ability to breathe that I am sick again. And so everything's gone. Is there one in there? Wild Maine blueberry, black tea. I don't want black tea. I want to be able to nap. Oh, good gravy boats. I am so ridiculously sick. So, maybe I can make. No, I can't make the light any better. I just don't have it in me to move. So, you know how I've been showing myself a bit more lightheaded than usual and forgetting what I was talking about mid sentence last week and a little bit the week before? Well, it turns out what I thought was all allergies was bronchitis, acute bronchitis, trying to turn into pneumonia, which I discovered last night. Oh, Val is here. Oh, I'm so glad you got the fabric. Okay, thanks, Val. Yeah, that should have been the last couple days. It's it's been a whirlwind of a week last week because, well, this week. See what I mean? I can't think straight. Um, ugh. Yeah, I'm sorry for sounding like a space cadet, but my oxygen levels are still not where they need to be. So I'm a little lightheaded constantly. So we started off the week finding out that it was definite. Monday night, I ended up going to the tree lot. Tuesday morning, I found out the person who was going to teach the merit badge class couldn't do it at the last minute. In 24 hours, Mike and I put together an entire program to teach 3 merit badges concurrently: citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the nation, communications, and get them started on family life. Now, I do communications. We both do family life. I don't do citizenship in the nation. Challenge is going to be Wednesday night. Mike's not going to be there. I have to be able, even if I sit through the whole thing and we just do the video portions, I need to be able to sit there and lead discussions and go through that. So, I'll figure something out when I feel better and had a couple days of antibiotics. And anyway, yesterday, um, I knew Thursday. I just couldn't really. I mean, Thursday, I slept off and on all day. I felt completely wiped out. And it made no sense because teaching a 2-hour class should not have exhausted me. So then I got nothing really accomplished Tuesday because by the end of like 6 hours, I was yawning and feeling exhausted. So I'd take another 2-hour nap thinking that would help. And it just didn't really. And Friday, I felt better, at least when I woke up, but I had slept. Wednesday into Thursday, I had slept 12 hours. I never sleep 12 hours. It bothers my back. Thursday into Friday, I did it again. Slept 12 hours that night. Was so stiff it took me half an hour to get out of the bed. And not just, and I didn't even have any cats laying on me. But Friday evening, I realized some thing of tea had fallen behind the cabinet. So I moved the cabinet out. I knew Mike was in a conference call for work, so I didn't ask him to help me. I moved the cabinet out. That wasn't the problem. The problem was all the crud behind it that had been knocked down that nobody said anything about. Spices, all kinds of stuff were back there. So I'm cleaning that out and sweeping that out, and then I get my finger cut by a piece of glass under the radiator, and I'm thinking, what the heck could be behind here? The refrigerator is right in the way of that radiator. So I'm trying to clean all this out, and here there was an antique bowl that at some point the cats had knocked off the top of the fridge. It had a giant orb kind of goldfish bowl, one of the big ones, like the size of a bowling ball, that came from my great aunt's house, and that was smashed, and pieces were on the windowsill, on the radiator, wedged behind the radiator and the fridge. So I body blocked the fridge and moved it out of the way. I said, I'm trying to clean this stuff up, and I'm having more and more trouble feeling like breathing. And then I realized I'm taking such shallow breaths, and I hadn't realized I'd been doing that. So I straightened up my back and I took one deep breath and let it out. Started to take the second one and immediately was incredibly dizzy, like the room moved. So I knew something was up. I just couldn't figure out what. Allergies alone won't cause that for me. So I he comes downstairs to see what I was doing because his meeting was over. And he gives me a little grief for moving the fridge by myself. And I'm like, you were working. I wanted my tea. Well, we get everything, I get everything swept and he gets everything moved back. We get the trash out. And I come back in and I'm still lightheaded. And he says, you all right? And he finally realized I'm not. And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't know what's wrong. So he stands there with me and he says, take a couple deep breaths. I took 3 and tilted sideways. He had to grab me. So I gotta get the tea. He pulled this out for me before he left for the tree lot, so I don't have to try to go downstairs to get a cup of tea. Um, so he he just looked at me and I just went, I know, urgent care. So he took me to urgent care and no COVID, tested clear for that. They did a second nasal swab for something else. I don't even know what. But it did show that I had my sinuses are all infected, but it's only the part like over here. It's not all up here. It's just in here, and I've been having trouble with that for weeks. I assume that was allergies. And it might have started that way, but there's an infection in there now. But the big problem came when they go to check my lungs. The front, they can hear that nasty bubbling noise like you get with pneumonia and severe bronchitis, which I had heard that morning when I woke up. I had taken a deep breath and you could makes bubbles pop. And you can sometimes, like, if you really listen, it almost seems like you can hear it yourself if it's bad enough. But he couldn't figure it out because he could hear it here. But when he would listen at my back, he couldn't hear it. So he's like, well, that I should be hearing it all the way down if it's pneumonia. So I get x-rays. It is probably 2 days away from turning into full-blown walking pneumonia. So I'm on the mend, but it is clogging up the top part of the bronchial tube so badly. My oxygen level was at 90%. The first time they took it, it said 88%, which is dangerous. Um, but after taking a couple of deep breaths, it jumped right back up to 90, which is still too low, which is why I was having so many, like, would forget what I was saying because apparently not enough oxygen getting up here. And then he tells me, and this is one of the reasons I'm online, if you're on the East Coast, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, it's heading north into New York, from what he understands. There's some kind of low-grade bronchitis going around. You never get a high fever. My fever was never past 100. Now, my normal body temperature's 96. So for me, 100 is a fever. But they don't usually think it is. You know, oh, 100's not. Yeah, well, if your body temperature's normally low, then yeah, 100 is. So it never was higher than that. And while I would be very croupy, I'm croupy all fall until we get a hard freeze in to kill the mold spores from the leaves. So I didn't think anything of it. But apparently that's one of the few symptoms. This nasty little version of bronchitis sneaks up on you. So if you're in my area, in the eastern end of PA, the southeastern PA area, I don't know if it's showing up anywhere else in the country, but he warned me that they're seeing a lot of it. And he helps at a clinic here, and he helps at a clinic in northern Delaware. And he's seeing people come in all over that it's popping up there, and that they got notices from around Elkton, Maryland, from southern New Jersey, northern PA, that it's creeping all around this little pocket of the East Coast. They've not seen it before. It's some kind of new variant, but it's not testing up as part of the COVID, but it is a very sneaky bronchitis. So I'm coming to spill the tea and warn you guys about it, and all the ones in my area, that if you find that you're waking up really croupy in the morning, but you can't really cough anything up, but it's all, it's all phlegm and gunk here, and you're running a low fever, talk to your doctors. If I had waited, he said probably in another 2 days, it'd be full on pneumonia. And I wouldn't have known it till probably I fainted, because I'm not having any of the other typical signs. I'm not having massive hard coughing fits. I'm not having all that gunk and congestion feeling. But what it's done, and they gave me steroids because it's inflamed the lung tissue so badly, like a massive allergy attack would, that it's masking the other symptoms. I'm not getting all that mucus because the lungs are so swollen, the glands inside it can't create anything, but it also can't absorb oxygen. One of my assistant scoutmasters had a trouble breathing, and they thought it was a problem with his heart. They gave him a stress test, and he ended up collapsing on them and on a ventilator. And that was just last week. And it turns out that he has bronchial pneumonia, had ended up with congestive heart failure, and ended up on the ventilator for 4 days. That's scary. He's younger than I am. And I haven't had a chance to talk directly to him about the pneumonia part, but he showed no symptoms of that other than realizing that he was having trouble breathing. So it got me worried. So I thought I need to let you guys know what's going on, and that tonight it's Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday. Um, I think it'd be in my best interest to hold off on that Christmas sale. They've warned me that they don't know the recovery time for this. So I don't know that I'd be able to have the sale on Thursday. Uh, and I honestly can't think that far ahead right now. Um, I'm just trying to get through today. And when I take the meds, I have a steroid, I have an antibiotic, which I can't even remember the name of. I had it once before when I had walking pneumonia when I was singing opera. I have to eat high protein level foods because it will tear you up. It also gives you a headache on top of all this. So I am not going to say if I'm going to be live Thursday night because I just can't. I can't think that far ahead right now. I'm worried about Wednesday night with the boys because a couple of them one of them's on his way to Eagle and he ages out in February. He needs this class, so I don't really want to cancel. But if it happens, it happens. I'll figure that out after this stuff's had a chance to work a couple days. But I'm gonna plan on we do the Christmas sale on a Sunday, just not tomorrow. We'll do it next Sunday. That way I can start it earlier. I can start it at 9, and I also should be able to just go for as long as my voice holds out, which we know usually starts cracking at 3 hours, but even doing this is winding me. All I know is I'm going to get a lot of books read because it's about all I can do. With the headache, I can't stand the noise of the TV being on. So I'm reading. I'm not reading the Dickens book. The print's too tiny and it is, bothering my eyes a little bit, this headache. But I've got some library books to finish. And so I just wanted to let you know about it and warn you guys, watch out for this. Even COVID didn't hit me like this. This is weird for a bronchitis. Ugh. I have to see. Mike can find more of these. Turmeric and green tea. Turmeric's a natural anti-inflammatory, and he said I can drink as much of that as I want. It won't mess with the steroid or anything else, but it might help because I cannot take the naproxen for my spine while I'm on the prednisone. They don't want you taking them together. So here's the one good thing, putting the Christmas sale off for a week. Mike wants to put up Christmas lights, which means we have to get into the attic, which means maybe I'll be able to get to one of the boxes of older Christmas stuff. I don't know. We'll see, because I'm not sure how far into the attic those are, if he'd be able to reach any of them. His reach is longer than mine. So maybe there'll be more vintage stuff. I don't know yet. But you know me, I'll post it on Instagram, and there will be a preview. I want to have a preview video for this sale. But that's pretty much what I wanted to just let you pop on, let you guys know. I see I've got a couple. Yeah, silly Leon. Hi, Leslie. Oh, I am having a really rough few days. This has had a cough for months. Yeah, and see, I've had a bit of a dry cough, but nothing, and it's allergy time for me. So until we had that first 28-degree night, which was Monday, then, there's still mold allergens in the air. So I have this to read, The Book of Lost Names. I'm almost halfway through it. It's a novel, and it's really interesting. She keeps my attention, which right now is really hard for me. But it takes place in France during World War II, and Eva is from a Jewish family, but there's a mystery involved a little bit, because she's very good at art. It's not her first love, but she's extremely gifted at it. And through circumstances, she ends up falling in with the underground and helping create documents. And the Book of Lost Names is the book that holds the secret key to all the Jewish children, including babies, that they managed to smuggle out. In the story, they get them smuggled out of France to the safety of Switzerland. And she doesn't want their names to be lost, because if after the war ends, then how will they ever find their families? But things happen. I don't know what yet, but I know at some point that, because it starts off with her seeing a news report of someone who has the book that has the special code in it, because the book itself is from 1700s, but he's never cracked what code this is, and he's got a massive collection of books that he's spent his life trying to get them back, some of them very rare books. He wanted to get them back into the hands of the owners who had lost them during World War II. And so that's when she finds out about it and embarks on this travel back to her past to help to get back to this book, so that, because she thought it was lost forever. And at this point, she's 81 when the story starts. What her story starts, and then the rest is all her history. And but it's been pretty fascinating. I'm halfway through it, just about. And then after that, see, this is why I'm not allowed in libraries. I start looking at the return shelf and I see cool stuff. Then I'm going to do Folk Arts and Crafts of Japan, partly because there's lots of pictures. I won't have to think too much. As silly as that sounds. But that's going to be my day today. Napping. Napping, tea, and reading. And I hope to see you next Sunday. That's the plan. To see you. We'll postpone the Christmas sale for 1 week. As I feel better, I will get stuff out to you. Linda, Peachby? I think that's your last name. You have been waiting and waiting because you had wanted this little painting of Jamaica, which I have, but you wanted this wonderful old print in an oval frame of Jesus with all these lambs. And I had searched and searched and searched. I finally found it and have to send you an email with the pictures of them. Here I had to keep it safe and away from the juvenile delinquent children. I knew I'd put it somewhere safe because I didn't want the glass in the frame to get bent or broken and the frame to get messed up. And I could not, in the boxes I had, I could not find it. And in searching, we found another box of missing older items from previous sales up here under Michael's desk. No wonder I can't find stuff. He put it away to make it easier when I had to walk with the walker in the house. But I didn't know that it wasn't on the first floor. There was a big box of stuff up here under his desk. I only found it on Saturday morning because I was still looking. I was like, there's got to be somewhere. And I'm like, well, what is this box under here that my foot keeps hitting when I use your desk? Oh, yeah, that's yours. That was news to me. So, but here the framed print was tucked on the bookcase, and I'd been sitting maybe 8 feet from it for months, not knowing. I had slid it on top of some of the reference books on the shelf in the back hallway, so it would be safe. That was in there, another picture, a different old print of Jesus in a little square, well, in a rectangular metal frame. That was under there. Like a box of mimeograph paper that someone else had wanted was in there too. And I'm like, so that's where these have all been hiding. Oh my goodness. So, uh, um, thank you for the offer, Leslie, but right now I'm under doctor's orders to not be too far away from urgent care because the next 24 hours and being on medication is when we're going to see if this is going to let loose or is it going to keep trying to turn to pneumonia. Because the oxygen count was so low, they want me to be nearby. But the plan was to come out to you on the 16th. So I'm hoping that I get better. I'm already missing the only Christmas party that I was to go to was this morning and had to cancel going to that. Oh, so oh gosh. Okay, I'm about at my limit. I've done more talking in these last 20 some minutes than I have in the last 24 hours. And it's making a difference in my breathing. So I'm gonna go. You guys have a great weekend. My Boy Scouts are just booming along with those trees. We canceled Thursday night because of the weather. 40 mile an hour wind gusts, and apparently there were people who still showed up at the lot thinking they were going to buy a tree. But the trees were wet, they'd been rained on, and 40 miles an hour wind, and most of our kids only come up to my shoulder. Well, at least half of them now. Some of them are taller. Mike didn't want to risk that. Didn't want hypothermia problems or this. He could just see little kids having a tree topple over on them, and you just see little scout legs and feet, and hands out from under a Christmas tree, because some of these trees are gorgeous and they're incredibly wide at the bottom. So he's there now, but they had sold more than half the trees by the time they were done Wednesday and Friday. So they'll probably be finished selling what they have left. If this weekend's anything like last Sunday was, they'll be done by, if not tonight, then they'll be done by afternoon tomorrow. So, so at least that's going well. Something's going right. And Aragorn is better. He's all done his meds and he's better. I'm now the one sick. So you guys all stay safe, stay well, and if you find that you're having croupy gunk in the morning and starting to feel more and more tired all the time, go talk to your doctor, or at least give him a phone call. Make sure this thing ain't popping up in other places, but it's definitely in the Tri-County area of southern Delaware, of Delaware County, PA. But he said he's gotten word of it all the way up around at Geisinger Hospital, which I know where that's at. That's up around Wilkes-Barre, Bloomsburg, PA. That's the up complete north of me at the top of the state. So be safe, guys, and I will see you definitely in a week. Knock on wood. These antibiotics better work. So I'm going to go finish my tea and take a nap. Bye, guys.